Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how I assemble a Northern Pike replica. I will then follow this up with a part 2 video on how I paint this fish. This is a 34-inch Northern Pike blank purchased from Lake Country Replicas out of Hawick, Minnesota. In my opinion, they have the largest selection of quality Musky and Northern Pike blanks available, and I will put a link to their website in the description below. I have previously published a Musky video which covers much the same thing as this, so this one might not be quite as detailed as that one. But who knows, this one might contain something a little different too, as there are many ways to achieve similar results. I will also put a link to my part 1 Musky video in my description below. The first thing I like to do is mount the fish securely to a mounting stand. I attached my mounting bracket to the back side with coarse drywall screws. I've pre-drilled little pilot holes to make this easier. Now we can put it on our mounting stand and have both hands free to work. Now we securely mount our fish to our mounting stand. And once mounted, I like to paint the gills that are molded on the side of the fish. Much easier to do now than when the head is attached. So I got my airbrush, a gill red. And we turn it around and do the same at the back side. The next step is attaching the rest of the gills, which I have already pre-painted. Pre-painting them is optional, it's just my personal preference. I'm going to use a super glue gel for attaching these to the fish. However, a 5-minute epoxy will work just as well. If you notice, they are labeled the right side, left side, 2, 3, and 4. And on the fish itself, you'll see the corresponding numbers, so the right gill gets in the right place. Now to attach them, I put a little bit of super glue on the top and bottom. Put my gill in place until it kicks. I use an accelerator. And I move on to the next one. Same process. And the last one on this side. And that's it for the left side. I will come back in a little bit and we're going to do some epoxy work on the transitions between the gill and the body. Now repeating the process on the right side. And the last one. And there they are installed. See-through gills, just like the real fish. Then we start installing the fins. Same process. Bead of super glue. And put the fin in the slot until it kicks. I should note out that I have pre-fitted all these fins prior to gluing them in and finding out they don't fit, but everything on this particular blank fit pretty darn well. Same process with the tail. And we just keep working our way around the fish till all the fins are on. And lastly, next I do a little epoxy work on the transitions of all the fins, just a little bit, and the transitions of the gills to the body. Now it's time to take my epoxy sculpt, equal parts of A and B, little warm water, and mix it up thoroughly. Mix it up until it's a uniform color. Now with a little bit of epoxy sculpt, my fingers and a little modeling tool, we're just going to work on these transitions, get them looking a little bit nicer. Where the gills meet the body, the tongue in this case. Now we start working on the fin transitions. I roll a little, very small rope of the epoxy sculpt, and I put it in here, the transition of the fin to the body all the way around. I just wet my fingers and work it in. Get a nice smooth transition. Add a little bit where it needs it, or take out if you got too much. Smooth it out with your finger. Use a little modeling tool where you need it. Then I just like to come in and give it a little bit of texture so it's not super smooth and shiny. I do this with a combination of paper towel and then I come in with a little scale mold that I made up. I've also made a video on that, how to make these. That gives a nice, you can see the individual scales, how it matches up with the existing. But with or without this, by the time it's painted up, as long as you put a little texture on it, it'll be pretty convincing once it's painted. Now we just work our way around the whole fish, repeating this process. And my favorite tool is just my finger and a little water. I know some people have problems with a reaction with the epoxy sculpt, and you may need to use vinyl or latex gloves to protect your skin. Now the same process with the paper towel, just to give it a little texture. And the scale mold to get a nicer transition. Now we just keep repeating the process all the way around the fish till all the fins are done. Most of these fins fit pretty good, so it doesn't require a lot of material to do this. That's it for the fins. Next is installing the head. To do that, I'm going to use this quick repair putty, equal parts A and B. Mix it up till it's uniform color. Now we butter the epoxy putty. Around the head. And a little bit under the tongue. And a little bit on the head itself. Make sure everything's covered good. Then we just put the head in place. The excess will just ooze out, and as it starts setting up, we'll trim that away. Now as this is setting up, we're just going to trim a little of the excess off. Now we'll finish up the head. Take our epoxy sculpt, lay a bead, work it in. Get a nice smooth transition here. And a little texture on top of the head. Then a few scales on the back. Now I'm going to set the eye. Take our epoxy sculpt, fill the back of the eye. I overfill it a little bit, so I have a little extra material to rebuild the scleral band. Just push it into place. Then I take a little modeling tool and rebuild the eyeball. This part just takes a little practice. Not too difficult to get a nice looking job. Then I just smooth it out with the brush. Now I just finish a little bit inside the mouth, do a little detail work there, and the throat latch. And this fish will be ready to prime and paint. And that's all there is to it until the epoxy sets up. And for the last step, I'm going to give it a coat of primer. Now this fish is all primed, ready for paint. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2 of this video where we paint this fish up. Thanks for watching.